Thanks for tuning into the announcers. This is Ryan Jespersen alongside a giggly tandem.
Yes.
Jalen Nye.
That's us.
Andrew Grose, co-hosts of the 6:30 CHED Afternoon News.
I've never purported to be an expert at radio, but I learned today that, so you're saying on turns on the mic?
That's right.
Okay,
That's why we were
that's
giggling.
Good to know.
For whatever reason, the three of us all kind of looked at each other puzzled, like, what do we do to start this? Oh, we hit the blue button.
But make sure we don't hit that big button
And
because we'd be in trouble with Stauffer.
Right.
Right? You can't do that.
Yeah, you don't want to roll over anybody's shows.
No.
Hey, I know that a lot of people get in trouble for saying this sort of thing, but Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Nobody gets in trouble in my house. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We're very much Merry Christmas people in my
Yes.
world.
It's not to say that I don't respect people that don't observe Christmas or that observe other celebrations, but in our house we say Merry Christmas, and I'd like to extend it to both of you as well.
You
Well,
as well.
thank you.
Thank
and,
you.
and right back at you.
Do you come from tradition-driven homes? Is every Christmas the same? Are there things that you do every year?
Yeah, for sure. And in the Nye household, and it was strange because it was kind of before the divorce and after the divorce, that being my parents' divorce.
Oh.
So that was, from the time I was 15, baby to 15, it was very much Christmas Eve. We'd go to church that once a year that the kids would get dragged to church because my mom would still go to church, fairly occasionally.
Mom went and
Occasionally.
the kids didn't have to go?
No.
Wow.
And
Catholic? Are you Catholic?
Well, no, my mom's Catholic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not. But my mom's Catholic. My dad is Anglican. So we'd go to the cathedral on Saturday nights or Sunday night. Sorry, Christmas Eve. Whoa, man. But we would do that. Then we would go home. And then on Christmas Eve, we'd all hang out together. But that was the evening we were allowed to pick one Christmas present from under the tree to open. We could pick, and you could pick whatever one, didn't matter. And that was really, really exciting. And I remember that. And the times that we were down with my mom's family in Peterborough, Ontario, my brother and I would share the big bed, and we'd usually beat each other up. We'd be kicking and punching and that sort of stuff. We'd be so excited we didn't want to go to bed, and finally fall asleep of sheer exhaustion, and then wake up and come flying out there. And that was absolutely awesome for us. But afterwards, it very much turned into boxing or Christmas Eve. Very much became my mom's evening with the kids. So, and it became an open door policy. So all of our friends that wanted to come over, and then as we got older, when we came home from college and university, our friends would come over on Christmas Eve as well for nibblies and a couple of drinks. And it was a really, really beautiful evening just to get together with Mom and our friends who she hadn't seen throughout the year because we were away in school, but to catch up and have some laughs and just really, really great memories. And some of my best Christmas memories are of that time.
Wow.
Those are a couple of my big ones.
Now, you said something, and I've just been hung up on that the whole time because I wondered if my family, what would have happened if my family had the same game plan. On Christmas Eve, you were allowed to open one gift. It was allowed to be whichever one you wanted.
Whatever one
so
we
what
wanted.
What if you picked like the big one?
Then you
Why
might have been
wouldn't you?
disappointed the next day, right? Yeah.
Would you be able to wait until Christmas morning for the big one? I would have gone straight for the big one.
Yeah.
I'd be really disappointed if I opened the big one and discovered it was the obvious one.
And
like a
that-
sled that was wrapped or something. Like, I totally could have figured that
should've
out.
figured that
yeah.
But I think sometimes they would play us a little bit. They would wrap it to make it look like it was a really big, really special. Then you open it up, it was,
Oh. My Christmas growing up was always executed with military precision.
surprise, surprise.
Yeah, and it's just funny now because when I had kids and we had the first Christmas where they were old enough to understand that there was presents under the tree, I attempted to do that as well. I kneeled down and I remember saying the words, all right, so who's going to read out the names? and Carol was just, what do you mean? And they go, well, we're going to take each present and we're going to read out who it's from and who it's to, and then that person opens it, and we all watch that.
That takes forever.
Yeah, and as I'm saying
that's the point.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. You enjoy the gift giving. It's not a matter of just piling stuff by the one chair or whatever.
Everybody slowly gets drunk.
Exactly. But no, that idea went right out the window. I had no idea. But on the other hand,
Turned into a free-for-all?
yeah, everybody's just ripping at stuff and everything. And to this day, my silent protest to that is that I open nothing on Christmas morning. So I watch everybody open their gifts because that's what I was brought up to do, and I enjoy it. So when they're all done, I then open mine. And it's not, nobody has to sit around and
gonna
watch
say, so
me
you
open
force
them.
everybody else to do it.
They can run off and find batteries and go plug stuff in and do whatever they're going to do. But I just enjoy it. And so I do it by myself. I just open them up and, thank you very much for that. And that's it. And I love it. And we were never allowed to open a gift before Christmas. We were never allowed to ask or for a specific gift. There was no make a list of what you want. You got what you got.
You didn't go through the Sears Wish book? And
we went
circle
through
things, or the Consumers Distributing book. And
Oh,
remember that?
I love that thing.
that.
Yeah.
I know.
I
No.
totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that's true.
It was so exciting when that Christmas wish book would show up, and you'd go through and you'd circle, or you circle and circle it, and you'd put it aside and you show your parents. Hopefully they might find it. And then the Consumers Distributing book. What happened to them? Are they still around? They're long gone.
I think they were
Yeah.
kind of like they were the analog internet. That's
Yeah.
essentially, it was like analog eBay
That's
or
right.
analog Kijiji. That was where you could go find.
You never really got to see the item, right? There was a few on display, but you went to the catalog, you wrote down the catalog number, went to the counter, then they went into the warehouse and came back out and gave it
Here
to
you
you.
go.
I don't even
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, let me just say that I grew up in a home where dinner could be at 6:30 or 11. So, and that is sort of like translated into how I roll, and so really sort of an irregular kind of a family schedule, but that was regular. That was normal to me. I could never understand like a family, like we eat every day dinner together at 6, and I'm like, well, yeah, but like, what if something's going on at 6? Like, what do you, you know? I could never really figure out what do you do then. Well, that's family dinner time, and I was like, that sounds horrible, you know. So yeah, our family was always kind of like we kind of roll with it. And it takes some getting used to, especially for those that have dated into or married into our family, to wrap their heads around that. So every Christmas was a little bit different. Sometimes we'd have a tree up at the beginning of December. Sometimes we'd have a tree up. We decorated on Christmas Eve.
That's nice, though, too.
You know,
Yeah.
so you know there were never gifts under the tree in our home until late night Christmas Eve. Typically, what we do, my mom makes these fabulous Japanese style chicken wings. They're like sort of pan seared and baked with a teriyaki sauce.
They're
Serve them with
fantastic.
rice. Oh my gosh! Right. So that's us every Christmas Eve.
Chicken wings and rice?
Yeah, I
Okay.
know, right?
Sure,
I
yeah,
know. Like
yeah.
it's kind of it's a little different.
I'm sure it works.
But they do she bakes the wings in a basting pan, and you get this fabulous
And they're
teriyaki, like
sticky.
a sticky,
Yeah.
chunky sauce, and the right, But yeah, wings and rice. It's kind of a weird combo, but oh my goodness. And back in the day, we'd go to grew up in a real big church, like a 1,500 person congregation, and we used to have the candlelight service until, you know, present day became present day and nobody could have candles anymore, and then they tried it with, I think, LEDs, and it just didn't.
Not quite the same.
Now I would imagine all the members of the congregation probably just hold up their
iPhone.
phones and sing. But that was always a wonderful tradition, and we push ourselves to the point of exhaustion on Christmas Eve, and then all go to our rooms and start wrapping presents for everybody.
Yeah.
Really? Well,
And that's
sounds
still
fun
sort of how I
too.
do it. So we do that, and then Christmas morning, the stockings were fair game. So if you were up early, you could rip through your stocking if you wanted to, and always fun there. You know, a roll of loonies or the mandarin orange. We can talk about what you're supposed to call those oranges in just a bit as well, because we've had some debate in our family. But then gift wise,
I think they're called filler.
they are.
Stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
I think about my grandparents used to call the oranges, and I'm mortified. We can't call them that anymore. The oranges of Japanese origin,
yeah.
and then of course the mandarin oranges, and then anyway, Christmas oranges now. And some people have suggested even that's offensive. I'm getting way off track. Christmas morning for us always sort of took on a different tone depending on what it was. I remember one Christmas morning we all got completely outfitted in ski gear. And that was just incredible to walk in, and I'm talking head to toe, jackets and pants, boots, goggles, poles, skis. I mean, this was a big moment for the family. So there was no wait around while my sister Megan opens up her ski boots. It was a free-for-all, right? But it's evolved into more of a scenario now where we want it to take 5 hours. And so we sit through and we open each gift separately. Now, we don't go as far as my wife's family. They literally wrap every item in every stocking, and everyone's got to focus while each person opens one stocking item.
Gosh.
Oh, no.
You get through the stockings in time for Christmas dinner, and then I'm not even kidding.
Now, do you have to unwrap the orange?
Oh, like probably. I've been accused of lacking focus on those mornings. So I don't know. Our Christmas traditions have kind of ebbed and flowed.
Do you know one of my favorite memories, because another tradition of ours is Christmas Eve. We go to Chinese dinner. Are you allowed to say Chinese dinner?
Yeah.
It's all right. You go to a Chinese restaurant, have a meal, and that's the whole extended family. And then when we come home, the pajama fairy has left pajamas for everybody on their bed, and we put on those pajamas, and then we watch a Christmas movie together.
Can you please send me a picture of that this year?
I will. I will indeed. And why I say it's one of my favorite memories, I remember the time I was sitting outside the house with the car running, ready to go to the Chinese restaurant, and the kids were in the car, and Carol said, "Oh, I forgot something." And she goes back in the house, right? And my daughter says, "Oh, every year Mom forgets something." And then there was silence in the back seat, and you could see the light bulbs go off. "She's the pajama fairy." I'm like, no. She's just forgetful. But she still does it. How old are my kids? 18 and 20. She still does it.
And you just said it, and it reminded me of something that my parents have done every year. We had these Santa bags, and they're simply garbage bags with a Santa print on them. And every year that was a gift from Mom and Dad, and they always opened on Christmas Eve, and they always gave us a calendar for the next year.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a neat tradition. Didn't have to be a costly one.
Right, exactly.
The best traditions are the ones that aren't involving a huge infusion of cash.
Yeah, no, my sister-in-law over the past, since my niece and nephew have been born, one of her gifts to the family is always a calendar made of pictures of the past year. So when we were together in the summer at the yurt, or, the kids' Christmas stuff, their basketball pictures, whatever. And that's one of those treasured ones. It's not a fancy one. It's not super costly, but it is of the family. And it's amazing as the older that you get, it's those things. It's just, for me, more and more about being with the family and missing the people who aren't there. Like, I miss my grandma and grandpa Nye would always put a Terry's chocolate orange in our Christmas thing, right? I love the Terry's chocolate orange, and I miss that after they passed away. Now my husband has started doing it for me, so he's kind of picked it up and done it that way, and with the boys as well. It's just those little things. But this was weird this year, and I have to tell you about this. And the hammer got laid down this year. My brother, the king of all things Nye, laid it down, said, "No Christmas presents this year."
None.
And I said, no, there will be some. I said, because we like to do that. "Well, fine, you can get me one or two. You can get my kids some if you want, but I'm not spending a boatload of money. We're just shuffling money back and forth." And we're all sitting there going, "Oh, bummer," right? Okay.
Seems like a nice guy.
Well, yeah, he is a nice guy. But that was kind of the edict that came down from Sault Ste. Marie. This is the way it was going to be this year. And I was texting my stepmom the other night. I said, "What size of shirt does Dad wear?" She said, "Well, I thought we weren't getting anything for anybody this year." And I said, "Well, I didn't get that memo." I said, "I got the memo that we could still get a few." Has that happened in your world yet?
This year.
Was it this year as well? Yeah.
And God bless my brother-in-law. He's my wife's brother.
Yep.
He's just a beauty, and he's very creative. And every Christmas, he's given me something
awesome,
handmade and awesome. I mean, the last one was a bottle of wine. He took a bottle of wine, the empty one, that had some meaning to us. It was one that our families had enjoyed together.
Yep.
And he turned that bottle of wine into this really unique bird feeder that hangs from a tree in our backyard, and it's great, and I love it. But he proposed this year. He said, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. As a family, everybody is going to make handmade gifts for each other." And I said, well, this isn't how I phrased it to him, and I guess now he'll hear it. But I said, "You can do that, but I'm not."
No.
Like, I
How
would be
about
happy
a
to give gifts.
best of Ryan Jespersen show?
Yeah, that's right. You can't put a price on that. But I sort of thought, like, first of all, nobody wants anything handmade from me, because that's not where my talents lie. And second of all, quite frankly, I don't have the time. Mm-hmm. So, I won't be proud of anything that I whip up in 10 minutes for anybody. So, but yeah, I mean, but then you understand where he's coming from. How meaningful and wonderful and great would that be? But I'd need about a 24-month heads up.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? My brother said to me, he says, one of the disappointing things about throwing this down is that you always find really cool gifts. Really cool gifts. And now I know that I'm not going to get one this year. And I said, well, you're still going to get a couple. No, 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 no. I said, yes, you are. So it was kind of like this little bit of a friction this year about the whole Christmas present thing.
What about the two of you with your partners, Andrew with your wife, Jalen with your husband? Do you set spending limits? Do you have?
Yeah, we do, and then I completely violate those. So because I am that guy, I really don't want anything. There's nothing that I don't have that I couldn't buy for myself during the course of the year. So we will set a limit, or Carol will set a limit.
Like, what would it be about?
$400 each.
Okay.
And then I'll totally violate that because I throw money at the problem. I'm not very creative. And when I look at Carol's gifts, and she'll stay within that budget, easily stay within that budget, she's very thoughtful in her gifts. When you open her gifts, you think,
Oh, wow.
Yes. That is something I hadn't thought about that I would really love to have or whatever. And if you open mine, here's a gift card I give up. Just a lot of those.
So for this year, you've had some help this year.
I have had some help this year, and I feel like I've done a great job this year. But, talking about throwing money at the problem, I remember the year when I was a small child, we would come down the stairs and literally could not get down the stairs because of the number of presents under the tree. Mm-hmm. And one year my mother had enough and just said, we're not doing that. Every child's getting 3 presents, and we did it. And we were really disappointed that year as children. But now as a father myself and getting, into my late 50s now, I totally get where my dad was coming from. I totally get now that he grew up poor and he worked hard to be able to provide, and that's what he wanted to do. At Christmas, this was his way of saying, look at everything that I've provided for you, and we loved it, right? But now, at that same age, I think I would much rather give thoughtful gifts and spend time with my children because I don't remember any of the gifts my dad gave me. I don't remember one of them. Mm-hmm. But I remember wishing we could spend more time together.
Yeah. $150 was the rule this year between my husband and myself. And I thought to myself, whoa, but okay, I get it. I'd rather take some of that money and save it for a trip or do whatever. We can get a few little things, and that's okay. I mean, we send the stuff home, we take care of the kids, and that's what we're doing this year. He's usually pretty good at sticking to it. I kind of don't do so well at times, but he's also very good at remembering things that I've said throughout the year, things that I might like, things that I'm interested in, and he has this Rolodex in his head, and he'll pull it out and he said, well, remember that time it was April 29th and we were sitting here and you said that you would like that, and I'm like, what? Right? And I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to get Coach this year, right? Oh, let's go to barbecue country because he really likes the big green egg and I can find some accessories for it. I'm lame at it. He's great.
What's the big green egg?
The big smoker, barbecue smoker. I got him for his 50th birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, knocked it out of the ballpark on that one. But yeah, so it's kind of a bit of a tricky thing.
I was in barbecue country a while ago. They have a trailer. Mm-hmm. Have you seen this thing? Mm-hmm. It's like $14,000 or something.
Oh,
what?
Yeah.
And you pull it, but it like has a hitch. And you pull it. I mean, this is for, I was going to say this is for people who take tailgating seriously. I think everybody that tailgates takes it seriously. This is next level.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is like wow.
Amazing.
I would be okay if Carrie broke the budget to get me one of those trailers. I'm not sure I'd use it. Yeah, $150 for us this year too.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a little interesting to think what I can do in that way, and I really have to do it starting this weekend. I only have a few days left because I have to take care of everything else first, right? Mm-hmm. Everything else first.
So you're both at 150 limit?
Yeah.
I want to change my answer. I think it was 150.
No, it wasn't.
But we're coming on the heels of
sure, yeah.
And this is I'll acknowledge it. I mean, we come in here and we shoot the breeze on the announcers. That's the whole point. So I'll just say it's weird to talk about what people spend at Christmas. Yep. It's weird to talk about money. I know for a lot of people, we'll say this Christmas is going to be different for a lot of people because we understand that the employment dynamic in our province is changing. A lot of people are out of work now that have been high on the hog for a long time. So Christmas will probably be different for them, and I don't want to discount those challenges. For us, it's been, we've spent the most on each other Christmases that we could least afford to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our first Christmas together, I've talked about this before. I was working in Red Deer in radio, making $10,000 below the poverty line, and spent a ridiculous amount at Christmas, an amount that took half the year to pay off after that. And Thankfully she liked the gift. but you get to a point where you kind of go, my sister's amazing at this. She just graduated with a graduate degree in Vancouver, so her last 6 or 7 years have been lower income earning years. But the gifts she's given have been so fabulous and so thoughtful. And I don't know, I mean, what they would have cost or not. A lot of them have been sort of artisanal gifts that she's picked up at different markets or along Commercial Street in Vancouver, whatever the case may be. But those gifts, one bowl that I use as a change dish in my closet or a mug that I have at home that I love are ones that I'll always remember are from her, and I think of her every time I use them.
That's the truth.
Yeah, well, for us, the way we made it work, or in our minds we made it work, and has always been this case, because my wife married a comedian, so let's not kid ourselves. We did a lot of years. We did one Christmas where we wrapped things we already owned and gave them back to each other. So we had presents under the tree.
Yeah.
We've been through some very lean times. But our rule has been for the last 10 years or more, whatever I earn on New Year's Eve is our total budget for Christmas. So we're not going to go into debt. So whatever I'm being paid on New Year's Eve, that's got to take care of the kids, the relatives, each other, and it never exceeds that.
Are you working New Year's Eve this year?
I am. I'm in
me
Saskatoon.
too.
Yeah.
You're in Toontown.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. I think you get to the point where it's like, okay, if I can't afford to pay it in cash, I'm not getting it. I refuse to put Christmas on credit anymore, and because I've been there and I've done that, and it's taken forever to pay off. I refuse to go that crazy stupid on it anymore.
We both put $50 a month away.
Nice.
Starting last January. And by we both, I mean she did it on our behalf.
Yes.
I kind of forgot we were doing this, but it was worked into the family budget. We actually have a pretty stringent family. We really, it's sort of by the dollar type thing, and that's Carrie's initiative, not mine, and I'm grateful for it. But it was pretty neat because she sent me an email money transfer last week or a couple of weeks ago and said, here's your share. Here's what you have to work with this Christmas. And that includes gifts for the parents and brothers and sisters and the whole 9 yards.
Before we go, I have a couple questions. I want like quick things for you as we wrap up a Christmas thing. Favorite Christmas carol? Go.
Silent Night.
Oh, geez. I can't answer the question. I don't know. Silent Night.
Mine's A Holy Night. There's something about that song. Favorite Christmas gift you ever received?
Why are you putting me on the spot with these questions? I have to think about this.
Andrew?
A new partner in the afternoon.
Oh, good answer.
I'm gonna. It's such a lame answer. I don't want to answer. I'm gonna say those skis.
The skis, yeah.
Atomic Arc Extremes. They were my.
And that whole memory that came with it.
A mogul skier through high school, and those skis were big for me.
Mine was a homemade Paddington bear that my mom made me. I wanted a Paddington bear so badly. I was 12 years old, and she couldn't find one, so she went and found a bear that looked like Paddington Bear and made the little hat and the little jacket that went with it.
You want to know the time that I was the biggest little jerk that I've ever been in my entire life?
Wow. You can answer that one without thinking. Okay.
My grandma Norma Jespersen, an absolute saint of a woman, had 15 grandchildren, and every Christmas would roll out in their sunken family room, this beautiful big room. They would open the door, and there would be the 15 gifts that she had spent all year working on. I mean, I'm talking incredible stuff. And one Christmas, I was probably like 4, maybe 5, maybe a little older because I remember it vividly. Opened the door, and there were like 13 strawberry shortcake dolls, like handmade strawberry shortcake and whatever all the other characters are called.
Blueberry shortcake and whatever
they're called. And then 2 of the like Cowichan coats, the knit jackets that you'd give anything for as an adult to own. And my grandma had thought that Ryan and Andrew, the cousin close to me in age, probably don't want strawberry shortcake dolls, so she knit us these beautiful Cowichan coats. And the rest of the kids had the strawberry shortcake dolls. And I sat there and I put on the coat and I went, it's itchy and I don't like it and I want a doll. And that April, when my birthday rolled around, my grandma presented me with that doll that she had handmade for me as a result of my immature, ignorant protest. And I wish I still had the jacket.
Yes.
I do still have the doll.
Do you?
But I'll never forget that, and I'll tell my kid that story when he's old enough to process it.
It's that moment.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on The Announcers. Have yourselves a very happy holiday season, and Merry Christmas from all of us here at 630 CHED.